Next map. Community assets. So, this is such a wonderful community, but this map is awfully blank. So I need feedback from you all, either right this minute or via email between now and the next meeting, that identifies for me other community assets. Right now we've got schools and parks identified, but there have got to be more places that are important to this community. So,
do any of these maps, since I can't see them well from here, show just township roads or the township and state roads?
it's coming. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a tease. Okay, so community assets, if you think about that, take this map home with you, three of you anyway. Look at what I emailed you and identify important assets in the community. Okay, next. Nope. Contour map. When we start identifying developable areas, the contours, the topography, and natural resources will be an important factor that will guide development. So we want to be aware of the topography of the community. So we've got a contour map. Next. That just shows the steep slopes and the valleys and the level areas. Next map. Next. This is the township's current zoning map. We've talked a lot about zoning. We're not going to do a new zoning map, but this project will develop a future land use map, which will talk more generally about land use patterns, and then will help guide future zoning changes. And zoning maps can also be helpful to identify existing land use patterns. So this is your current zoning map as it exists on the books now. If there's any surprises to you, if your house is zoned industrial, sorry about that, but this is what's on the books as far as we know. Next map. Well, this is like the eye doctor. You better with this one or better with that one.
He's getting us back.
Developable lands map. So this map will be a continuous work in progress and will help guide the future land use map. As I said, the future land use map will be our roadmap from a land use perspective. The developable lands map, what we did here was took out parcels that had existing structures on it, on small lots. On larger lots, 10 acres or greater, whether they had structures on it or not, they became developable. There probably are additional lots that are developable that could be added. This was just a first pass based on those criteria. And again, to be fair to us and to Gateway specifically, the township, and we talked about resources, the township does not have a robust GIS system. It is critical that to implement this plan, that we need to recommend the township invest in this information, because me sitting down with a fat marker or a crayon and telling you what's in your community is not the right answer. We're doing the best we can with information that we have in the books. The county has limited information that we got. The township has some information. Gateway's been building some information over the years, but there has not been a deliberate effort to build a GIS. And it's expensive, but worth it in the end. So this information is the best you've got. We're going to keep building it as we go.
What's the county doing on efforts to build a county wide?
They have.
Before we make some recommendation, the county is working on that.
No county will do what you need to do at the local level. They're not going to care about your roads. They're not going to care about your sewers or water lines. I know it's important to you. They're not going to care about your zoning, your existing land use, any of that stuff, the level of granular detail that you need to do proper analysis. So we need to build a GIS. This project will be a great starting point, and we'll do what we can to build that framework.
This is the existing.
So this can go in the summer.
It doesn't help. The third section of it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So here's,
Here
it's definitely, yeah, so it's going to go here. And over here.
But it's going to show where it's going to go through the section.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Yeah. Cool.
It's supposed to loop around, I don't think it's a loop.
Okay, next map. Existing land use. Again, based on the limited information that we had, this is an existing land use map. Our best effort to identify the current land use patterns in terms of what is vacant, what is residential, what's commercial, what's an office, industrial, mixed use, and just get a sense of patterns of existing land use. That doesn't necessarily always line up exactly with your current zoning map, but it does give you a sense of what's out there today. Next map. Natural features, this kind of goes along with the topography map. So this will help to inform potentially future community resources in terms of parks or trails, but also developable lands and development patterns in the future. So natural features include wetlands and floodplains, and also the topography that was put on another map as well. Next map. Regional context. Oftentimes these planning processes focus way too much on the four corners of your own community. What's happening around you can have huge impacts. You can't control it at the local level specifically, but we should be aware of it. So we at least want to understand where we are and who's around us and what they're doing. Next map. Stormwater infrastructure. We talked earlier about the issue with road stormwater. This map identifies some existing stormwater infrastructure. We know MS4 continues to be an important feature and a huge investment by communities, so we need to start talking about that as part of impacts to our stormwater infrastructure as new development occurs.
MS4 meaning, sorry.
Base stormwater, how you manage stormwater.
Oh, I see.
Municipal. Sewer.
Yeah.
No, the other
You should never fly.
roadmap. There's two of them. And we're going to talk in detail about these two. So we'll probably, you can spread them out side by side. We've got a roadway ownership map, which again did not exist, but we took some time to do the best we could to create that map. We also created the starting points, again, which did not exist, a roadway classification map, because in terms of development patterns, a cow path certainly has different impacts on development versus a four-lane highway. So we identified arterial, collector, and local roads, at least the first pass at it, as well as the ownership of those roads. So Mike Hickman's here from Gateway Engineers. We talked about the benefit of having Gateway integral to the process, and one of those benefits is the familiarity with the transportation network, because from an infrastructure standpoint, we're going to talk a lot about roads and impacts on future development. So Mike's just going to talk to you a little bit about these maps, about your existing infrastructure and from a transportation standpoint, and some things we want to think about as we move forward with this planning process.
May I take a picture of this little section right
You
here?
can take it home with you unless somebody else is going to arm wrestle you for it.
Okay, this way. He's gonna email me. Okay, so you can have this.
A complete set? Yeah, we can get you a set. Maybe the next round. Okay, so Mike's going to talk to you about roads, transportation. All eyes on Mike. Mike Haberman, the guy with the straight white shirt down there.
So real quick, just about these two maps. The first map, the roadway ownership map. Our GIS guy chose pink, I let him keep it that way. That's the Southern Beltway. As discussed earlier, we'll add in kind of as a dashed pink that next phase of the Southern Beltway.
Third stage.
Yeah, which isn't funded right now, but you know, there's plans out there for it. The blue represents state-owned roadways, and we can also include Interstate 79. But if you really kind of look at it, what you see is that there actually aren't a ton of state roads. You have some 4 or 5 state roads that come through the township, north, south, or east, west. But the vast majority of the roadways throughout the township, which is the gray and the black color, are all local-owned township roads or in some sense private roads. You got Georgetown Mayview, which feeds into the Upper St. Clair area in Allegheny County. You've got Route 50, obviously a nice east-west through the township. You have 980 that runs north-south, the western side of the township, and then Bishop Road also north-south route. but the majority of it is all local roads. Now, when it comes to land improvements for those state roads, at this point, there really aren't anything on the books from a PennDOT standpoint. They are looking comprehensively and have been for a number of years at the I-79 corridor between the Allegheny County border and further to the south of Canonsburg. The Canonsburg split interchange is obviously very challenging. They've spent a lot of time evaluating options for that corridor, but if you're going to see anything happen to that Interstate 79 corridor, especially down through Canonsburg, it's way off in the future because it will be such a massive reconstruction project that it's just not something that can be done. Very limited.
There's more there.
This is, so just south, so this is the split Canonsburg interchange, right, which is pretty overloaded. Now, they are, from their numbers, expecting some redistribution and reduction of traffic to the South Point interchange as a result of the construction of this. The Southern Beltway itself is going to provide access, free access, if you will, untolled access from the eastern part of the township here on to 79 North. So right now, if you wanted to access 79 North from over in this area, you either have to wind your way down to South Point Boulevard and on to 79 at that interchange, or find your way up to Bridgeville, which can be a nightmare in and of itself. This reconstruction of Organza Road and this interchange is going to provide a direct access from those areas right up to 79 North.
Plus cemetery we're talking.
Yeah.
In that space.
So there is a fair amount of traffic that finds its way to the South Point interchange that is not obviously destined to the South Point development, that is going to have an alternative to get on 79 without having to come
So
to that.
we're actually going to have another exit, South Point and where the turnpike is, because the turnpike will not allow you to get on and off the turnpike to access 79.
Correct.
And Georgetown.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like another, it's going to be like West Shore. where you get-
You can go to it.
You all please speak up, we can't hear you back there.
Now, as far as any other planned roadway improvements, the only other planned roadway improvements right now that are on the books are associated with the Pool Valley developments, phase one of their development. They have a series of improvements that they're gonna make from South Point Boulevard intersection with Organza to the north here and down to the Whitney Road, which is going to be reconstructed as their main access. And then some of the distance between South Point Boulevard and the bottom of the hill at Cecil Henderson Road in Georgetown, but not all the way down to here. Really, the crux of what they're doing is specific to accommodating their traffic. It's not, there are already regional demands and deficiencies in those areas. What they're going to do is